Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and hope you're getting ready for an amazing weekend. I've been getting ready for an amazing program right here on this Friday, and joining me, Dr. Sheri Keffer.
Hello.
Hi, Sheri.
Hello, Steve.
And Chris Williams is right here with us, and we're glad he is.
I'm glad I am too.
And these people are really, outside of their work, very interesting. Sheri is a deep-sea fisherman. Is that right?
I am. I have my 150-pound marlin hanging on the wall.
Oh,
and it's the only
amazing.
one I have on the wall. All the others I'm catch and release. But, yeah, that was my first. I wanted to catch a marlin since I was 5-6 years old.
Wow. That's incredible.
Isn't that
It's
crazy?
wonderful.
Start with bluegills and perch and end up wanting a marlin.
There you are. And then Chris, I mean, he's a great trout fisherman. Am I right? Fly fishing?
I love it. I'm still working on it, but I have been able to catch some really, really cool fish over
It's
the years.
all that wrist action.
You've
It's
taken-
like you've got to kind of just learn how to just put that little fly right on the top of the water.
It really is an art form. That's
Yeah,
why I love it.
I know.
And golfer? You love golf,
I
right?
love golf. Yep.
All right.
Speaking of
none
golf,
of that has anything to do with what we do in here, but I just wanted you to know these people are real people. They have real lives. And, you know, when I was growing up, Dale Evans and Roy Rogers, well, Roy, I think he was the one that rode Trigger, the horse, and stuffed it when he died. Anyway, I want to talk about triggers, not the horse, but things that trigger people back into some state, and it's an uncomfortable place, and the origin, well, it's not in the past for a lot of people, not in the past 10 years. It might be 2 decades ago something happened, and something triggers the pain or the dis-ease that they have. Let's talk about that. What do you think a person should do if they look back and they go, yeah, that's what has happened to me? These triggers, I see these things or I feel these things, and it's much, much more than what you would expect to feel. Sheri, start with you. What's the best thing that they could do?
well, the first thing you need to do when you're triggered is to actually just get into your body right away, because we don't go looking for triggers. Triggers find us. And so you might just be walking along and there's something externally that you see that reminds you of a pain spot, really excruciating pain that you've had in your life. And what happens, speaking of fishing, I was in Alaska, Ketchikan, Alaska, actually, and Kyle and Coleman and I caught salmon. And I had them flash frozen and FedEx to our front door. And the day that we got home and we opened that package, the salmon was so fresh. It's like we just caught it that day. Well, that's how triggers feel. There's a pain spot in our past, and it gets frozen, frozen, and it gets FedEx to our front door, and it can feel like it's happening right now. But it's not right now. It's reflecting what happened before. And so we need to get help for that. It's a sign that there's more work to do. That whatever that pain in the past is, isn't healed yet. It's still oozing under the surface. I don't know, Chris, what do you say?
I would, similarly. I use an analogy of a landmine, and that is a pain from our past that is stored inside of us, but they have tripwires around them. And once something crosses through that tripwire, there's an explosion. There's a trigger point. And we oftentimes give it what happened instead of looking at the landmine itself. We've got to go dig up those landmines in our lives.
And it's so sad when we have the feeling, I just need to deal with this on my own. Or somebody tells us just get over it. We'll be back right after this for more New Life Live.
Our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
This is Steve Arterburn. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy in Marriage workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always wanted.
The next Intimacy in Marriage workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back and would love to see you at one of our workshops. We've got a Intimacy in Marriage coming up in Washington, D.C., and that's going to take place, I believe that's going to be July the 28th. But right now, I want to talk with Catherine. Lynn Hartsville, I think it is, Pennsylvania, WBYN is the station. Catherine, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for taking my call. Love you
Thanks.
guys. I'm a groupie. I go way back. I support you in many ways.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it. How could we help today?
Do my question first. How can I point my 21-year-old daughter in the right direction to empower herself against sexual harassment? She had an incident recently. She lives many states away from me, so I thought I'd call.
Okay. Is she not feeling confident in confronting or reporting?
Yeah, you know what? Yes, exactly. She's a very strong-willed person, but she says because she feels sexualized, it's really awkward for her. She did tell the manager, and the manager talked to them, and they could almost get fired, and now they're blaming her, and they're saying, well, why didn't you come to us? And I'm like, anyway, I just thought I would call because I know, because like I said, she's tiny. She's about 5'1", 5'2", but she is strong-willed, but like she said, when it comes to the sexual, she just gets so uncomfortable, so.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean, really, that's horrible, and you'd think that management would be quite sensitive to this. Sheri, what do you think a woman might be her best strategy when she's already being blamed for being harassed?
Yeah, I really hope, Catherine, that your daughter listens to us, because I can kind of see why she's feeling spun out right now, kind of spun like a top, especially because I'm sure she loves her job. I'm sure she's good at her job. And you don't really go into work in the morning thinking that there's going to be a perpetrator there, a sexual perpetrator that's going to objectify you. She's smart. She knows exactly what's going on. But where the disillusionment came is their employer gaslighted her. Mm-hmm. Instead of empathizing with her and saying, oh my goodness, we can see why it might have been difficult for you to bring this to us right away because of fear, power differential, and whoever is doing this to you, and a fear of maybe losing your job. You're safe with us. We're so sorry this happened. This is unacceptable.
But let me clarify. I don't know for sure what they said to her, but they went and talked to her. They were on her side. The guys who were doing the sexual harassment, they were saying like it was her fault if they get fired.
Oh, so they're gaslighting her.
Yeah,
so
the guys
gaslighting. Yeah, okay, thank you, because I didn't know if it was the employer, because I thought, gosh, you're right, Steve.
No, it was the two guys, and I'm
of
just
course.
for my own curiosity, I'm going to find out specifically what the employer did say to her. But no, because I told her, because she's young, and I said, oh my word, almost every place you go for a job, there's at least a page or two about sexual harassment that you have to sign.
Yep.
So it's not like they didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, gaslighting happens when someone strategically twists the truth to make you believe there's something wrong with you or you're crazy, it's your fault, while they're hiding their sexual behavior over here. And that's what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to make them feel responsible for their bad behavior. But most likely, those workers, I would be shocked and surprised if they weren't nursing pornography. I'd be shocked and surprised if they were in a relationship with a significant other, that they weren't also betraying that female. And because there's two of them, right? They're encouraging each other. They're it's like being in a locker room. It's unsafe. But for her to know the truth, that it has nothing to do with her and everything to do with how perpetrators behave when they're trying to lie and cover up. Right. That's important. That's real clarity, and it's very validating to know that.
I think it's also helpful to know what a healthy response is to this. So
correct. I'd like to know. Right.
Yeah. So a healthy response to this, I'm going to put myself in the place of the guys who were sexualizing her. The employer comes to me and says, hey, this female employee feels threatened or uncomfortable and feels like there's comments or looks or things done that feels like she's being sexualized. A healthy response is, oh my goodness, there is something I'm doing that's making it unsafe for somebody else. What do I need to do to change to provide a safe environment for this person?
Right.
So now let's you and I spar, and you be the guys, and I'll be her daughter.
Am I the healthy or unhealthy version?
Unhealthy.
The unhealthy.
Because I want to help her understand what her daughter can do.
Okay, yes, I'll be the unhealthy guy.
You.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
okay.
I've already talked to HR, and they're concerned. They went and talked to these employees and confronted them.
Yeah.
So now you see me, I'm standing by the water cooler.
Why did you tell on me? You're threatening my job.
I am uncomfortable with how you're treating me, and you and I may not agree on what happened, but I did what I believe was right.
Well, why didn't you just come to me and tell me?
I'm not responsible to come to you. I need to go work on a project right now, so I'm going to go into my office. Like, she doesn't have to engage them. She just has to hold on to herself, because they're going to try to spin her. And it's like, no, I did what was right. No, I need to go work on a project. We may have to agree disagreeably. I'm not responsible for what you did. But it can create some dissension. And this is the thing that's going to be the hardest for her. If they continue to bully and harass her, post them being confronted by their employer, the scariest thing for her to do? She's going to have to go back and tell her employer that now they're bullying her.
Yeah.
So just have her keep a short stick on it. That may have been the one time they did it. But if it continues, it's unacceptable in the workplace.
Yeah. Yep. That's good.
And it's really shocking that there isn't follow through. But I think she needs to let them know what Sheri's saying, that there needs to be followed through. And
Yeah, thank
I'll
you.
just, I'm going to send you a copy of Sheri's book, and maybe that'll help your daughter see some things, and I hope so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Your book is so good at addressing the trauma that comes from when a person is betrayed, when intimacy is disrupted. And I just would recommend anybody that has ever been shocked because somebody has betrayed them and destroyed any kind of intimate connection there, it's a great book for you.
Thank you. It's Intimate Deception, Healing the
Yep,
Wounds of
Intimate
Sexual Betrayal. And I have a chapter called Gaslighting, Deception, and Blame. Oh, my. That probably will be the one that she wants to start with.
That's really, really good. And if I can just address the men out there, healthy or unhealthy, the first thing, obviously, is we've got to do the work to become gender-safe people, like sexually safe people in the world, but also the work of empathizing of what it's like to be a female in the world.
Yeah.
And that experience is fundamentally different than ours. I always tell my clients, like, there's a mall near us, and there's a parking garage there, and there's a Macy's, right? It's right outside the Macy's. I said, if it is February and it's 6:30 p.m. and I'm walking out of the Macy's into the parking garage, what's going through my mind? Usually like, oh, I need to get home, get dinner, maybe text the wife and see if there's something I need to pick up. Sheri, a female as it's dark out, walks into a parking garage at 6:30 at night. What's she thinking?
I'm already nervous. I already feel fear because I don't know what's out there, what might be lurking, what might be hiding behind a car. I mean, we feel fear and concern about our safety 100 times more in a minute than a man does.
And I just want us to be able to recognize that those are two very fundamentally different experiences of the world. And those differences are really important.
Yeah.
So our job to empathize with what that female experience is really important.
All right. My 16-year-old was talking about this. Exactly the way you described it, Chris. What a different experience, he said, it must be for a woman getting into her car in the parking lot than a man. And so if a 16-year-old can figure that out, all of us can figure that out and have a little empathy and understanding. Let's go to Ruth, Pensacola, Florida. WEGS is the station. Hi, Ruth. Welcome. And how could we help today?
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I've got so many issues, I don't know where to start, but the big one I'm calling about today is that I'm wondering how I can help my husband just want to do more for our home and for our well-being.
Well, what is he not doing?
Well, he lost his job in 2017. I had a decent job, so he said he wasn't going back to look for another job. He started his own handyman business. And I thought, great, he'll get some of these projects finished around here that he never has because, give him grace because he works a lot. But instead of improving our home issues, projects that he started years ago and never finished, he's actually made more problems around here. But he'll go and work on somebody else's property and not on ours. We have several different properties. One of them we've tried to either sell or rent, but it's been vacant for like 7 or 8 years. I found out just last week that, or it may have even been the week before, that the front windows were broken out. Well, it's Florida. Okay. It's raining every day.
Yeah.
And he has not taken the time to go over there and cover the windows.
Okay.
So that's just an example of,
yeah.
And
you're wanting
I'm
him.
wondering how I can help him be more proactive, how I can help him care. I feel like I'm doing something wrong and I've messed him up, and that's why he's doesn't really care about working on our issues.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, relationship issues, he won't read a book that I give him or anything like that either.
So it's pretty difficult for a woman through talking to inspire a man to be different. You really need kind of a team and an experience or something. Chris, what are you thinking is a good strategy for them to find the connection again and be happy and fulfilled?
Well, Ruth, it's a difficult situation to be in because something's going on inside of him that's causing him to shut down, at least around the house. And obviously, losing his job, going through the pandemic, I kind of always throw that in there because it seems to have affected all of us. And then coming out of it on the other side, there is this weird resistance and passivity in him around things that need to be done that are important to you or both of you.
Right.
Yes.
Now, if you come at it with what is wrong with you, he's probably going to get defensive and shut down. If you come at it with, I'm really struggling with, and I wonder what happened. And is he a person that can talk about what's going on the inside of him or kind of pinpoint down to, there's this weird thing in me where I don't want to work on stuff around the home or in our properties, but I don't know what that is, or here's what that is. Because really,
he is not one to share at all.
Yeah, that puts you in a really, really tough situation. And I think that really letting him know. And I would go at it from this perspective if I were you. I would say, because, I want to know what's going on. I want to give you the opportunity. But if these things aren't taken care of, I'm just going to have to hire someone to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Take it into your own
Yeah,
hands.
I tried that. I tried hiring somebody and just haven't been able to, especially if he finds out about it.
Oh,
Well,
then
is he afraid of you?
No, not physically anyway, I'm sure.
But just the way you talk to him and things, does
Yeah,
he?
maybe
try
that's
to-
it, and I don't know how to change myself to be more positive and encouraging and uplifting and edifying to him. When I'm so
bet not.
frustrated,
Yeah.
when he finishes
Okay.
the project, if he ever does, it's been so long that it's hard for me to be grateful for it.
Sure.
I'm just so frustrated. It's like, it's about time,
All right. Well, we'll help you right after this. You're listening to New Life Live.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're just finishing up here with Ruth. And Sheri, I help Ruth with this dilemma.
Yeah. Ruth, you left a fingerprint in what you shared with me today that I can't seem to get past. There, like if you go and there's a detective scene and there's fingerprints and you're trying to figure out at the crime scene what's going on. You said that there is a broken window in one of your rentals. It's raining. He knows about it, but he hasn't had the energy to go fix the windows. Don't you think that's weird? Right. Don't you think that's weird?
I'm just wondering if he's depressed or something.
Well,
but he won't talk about his feelings to me, so I don't know.
Well, so let me make a couple guesses here. He doesn't have close male friends, right?
He actually does have a couple close male friends. The problem is he does not share. As far as I know, he doesn't share with them. He's got a Bible study he goes
Well, then
to.
they're not very close if he doesn't share.
Yeah. I'm not talking...
I think his idea of close is not like being like intimate with sharing,
So, but if these two guys knew that there was a hole in the window, do you think they would just say, hey, guy, leave it there, let the water come in?
No.
No. It's weird, right? Now, and
Very weird.
Well, and then this might feel a little personal, but I don't know how your sex life is. Is there distance in your sex life? Is it connect.
There's been a lot of distance in the past year.
Okay. So that...
Because I feel super frustrated, and I'm not turned on by somebody who is so apathetic.
Right.
You know, who chooses to just overlook every issue that needs to be done, that needs to be taken care of.
I know. So when somebody loses a job, that's tragic, right? That's a trauma. But when you begin to see that they're not fixing windows that are leaking water into your house, it made me think of, and this might feel like I'm coming out of left field, and maybe I am, because I don't know, Ruth. I know God, we know God, but I don't know what's going on. But when I think back to Connor and my relationship with him, you know, I wrote my book, Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal. We had rats and rat infestation. And so I hired Truly Noble to come in to fix the rat problem. And when they came, they had to come, and we had all these little holes under the house that the rats were coming in and out of. Well, we spent like $700 that day. Well, there was this huge, big hole. It was like 3 feet by 2 feet on the side of the house. And the guy, Connor says, well, I'll just fix it myself. And then it got to be 4 o'clock, and he goes, well, I'm going to go golf. And I said, we just spent $700. Why are you not going to fix the Taj Mahal opening till we just paid all this money to you get it? It's like the rats could come in and out. But something really struck me that day is that he didn't care. There was something more important that he was impassioned by. And while it wasn't golf, what I didn't know about is there was an underlying pornography addiction. There was something going on that was creating a distance in our marriage, and it was making him as a man not even be effective in our relationship or even in his work. And so I don't know what it is for your husband, but it's something. Whether it's depression, whether it's a porn addiction, whether it's disconnection, who knows? But trying to get him to fix the window is like trying to manage the problem rather than manage the symptom rather than go to the problem. So, intimacy in marriage.
That's what I want. I want to know how to encourage him, But because it's not just the window. That's just the latest thing. And we've lost thousands of dollars on rentals that have not been. This rental's been vacant for 8 years because he won't go fix it up and either rent it or sell it.
But there's a rat infestation.
When people offered to buy it, he says that's not enough money.
I know, but do you know there's a rat infestation? You have a rat in the house, my dear. And being nicer is not the answer. Being more curious. Maybe having you guys come to the intimacy intensive, marriage intensive. I don't know
if I could get him to do that. He won't even read a book here.
I understand.
Love languages or praying for your wife.
But all that. But if you have a rat infestation, honey, if there's a porn addiction that you're not smelling and seeing, he's not going to be moving as a man who is responsible. Something is sapping the life out of him. He has passion. It's just not towards you or fixing the house. It's going someplace. So I'm going to ask Steve if I can send you my book, and you might just throw my book against the wall and go, I don't want to read this. But I'm wanting you to get curious about what else might be going on in order to have some deeper conversations of concern.
Now, and one of the things just to be aware of, when Sheri has a hunch, it's not just like one of us having a hunch.
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
1,000 bits of info that go into that. And so I would really say to him things like, don't you think the least we could do to try to get back to where we were is go to this weekend experience? We've got the money to do it. It's available. Don't you think it's kind of the least we could do? It's not like signing up for 6 months of marriage counseling. It's a weekend. That's how I would approach it with him. And if he resists, I'd say it is the least we could do. So I want us to go and sign up. Because I think Sheri's right. There's another thing and he's angry, and he just doesn't want you to tell him what to do. We'll take a break. We'll come right back right after this.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, August 4th through the 6th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and one of the stars of mental health, Larry Sonnenberg, is in the studio here today.
Yeah, the one who needs it more than anybody.
Well, Larry, no. You are responsible for so many people getting help by the way you have managed our finances and this organization. What do you have for us today? Usually you bring in a testimony.
Well, I do have one of those, but I want to repeat what I've said all week on radio. I want people to go to our website who might be interested in intimacy and marriage, or even if you're not, you probably ought to be, and go to the events tab at the top of the homepage, click it, and then go to intimacy and marriage. And on that page, there is a video testimony from a couple. And I think everybody needs to see that might be thinking about it, because it's a lot of people. A lot of people have the same story.
They sure do.
And here's another one.
Okay.
Before coming this weekend, my husband and I lived separate lives under the same roof. I was lonely and lacked hope. This weekend, my hope has been renewed. Hope that I can become more whole. Hope that he can fill bleak gaps in my childhood abuse, or gaps my childhood abuse left behind. Hope we don't have to be lonely together for the rest of our lives. I leave here with tangible things we can do together to promote connection. It stood out to me that she said, I hope we don't have to be lonely together. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things we share at this workshop is we need to learn to be broken together. Mm. And folks, this workshop is an amazing workshop. And it doesn't matter if you're in a real broken, almost divorced relationship, or if you just need a refresher each year, and this is the one you're going to choose to. People get a lot out of this workshop no matter what shape their marriage is in. It can get better. So please consider signing up.
And if you could help us, maybe a scholarship for somebody, if you've been especially, and you could pass it on to someone else, please consider that. Or join Club New Life, $35 a month. There are ways to help us that aren't too painful. And for others, $35 a month is very painful, and they do it anyway, sacrificial giving. Help us if you can, but I'm telling you, the best thing you could do for your marriage in the shortest length of time, I think, is intimacy in marriage, and I don't think you would ever be disappointed in coming. Anything else you want to say, Larry?
Real quickly, I want to thank people who have been giving and who will give. And we're coming up on it's going to be a pretty spirited political campaign in our country.
Spirited.
Yes, and a lot of people are going to be or are making donations to political parties and candidates. And I'm not going to ever tell you don't do that, but I'm going to tell you don't do that instead of remembering us. $30 a month compared to sending $500 to a candidate is nothing. So please consider supporting New Life. The spiritual value of this ministry will far surpass the political value of any candidate you can support.
There you go.
So thank you.
Yeah, that was almost political, Larry, and political free zone here, but you did it in a way it wasn't political. Yeah. So good job.
Okay.
All right. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The candidate we support is Jesus. That's all.
There you
go. We're in a whole different business, right?
That's right. Well, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need help, you could go to the intensive for marriage, or if you can support us, same number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. All right, let's go to, how about we go to Steve, Albany, New York. Hey, Steve, how are you? You go listen to WHAZ, which is a great station there. Thank you for calling. How could we help you?
Well, I appreciate the call today. I kind of have a multifaceted issue, and I'll bring it to you with the meat and potatoes as best I can because I know I can keep it here for hours. But basically, I have a family with 3 boys and my wife. We've been married 15 years. And 8 months ago, at the end of 2022, we were getting ready to move to a new state for a new job. And I came home for my last day of work here in New York. And she and the kids and the dog were gone.
Oh, boy.
And in short, there was some legal accusations made of abusive situations towards her, so therefore it's folded over towards the kids as well. And through this legal process over the months, it has been extremely expensive and taxing on everyone. In short, I have 50-50 custody with all of the accusations now dissolved, including CPS things, such as that. So I'm just bringing you guys up to speed on kind of what's going on. Still in this stagnant standstill of trying and attempting to better myself through all this, come at this humbly, not acting like I am in no way at fault for anything within the marriage with our conflict for probably a good decade of our marriage in conflict. And she is an avoider. She does not handle conflict. She doesn't want to deal with it. And that creates more conflict because I do want to deal with it, trying to learn and adapt over the years to back off and let the space be had. But it was not enough, and it led to recently, like I said, where this all separated. We got into a church, and within 2 months, that's when she left. I do believe the church had given some bad information to her and guidance. So in short...
Yeah. So you want help.
I'm going to ask my question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask my question. So I know you can't necessarily tell me what to do.
Well, yes, we can. We can suggest things because this isn't really counseling. It's an advice program, I think you could say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then advisable-wise, with what's going on, and our original intended plan was to get all the way down to Arkansas, and that was a long time coming. We were working on a one position. That position has now materialized.
Okay, why don't you ask us a question that we could answer for you?
Sounds good. I need to move on and take this position with the financial strain I'm under, but I would be stepping away from the kids for a time. The kids want to live with me, and she has not moved forward with anything, is unwilling to try to reconcile or even talk to me
ask
about
us a
our
question.
issues.
So ask us a question.
Okay. What do I do now? If she's that feral cat that you guys had on the air earlier, and anything I approach to do or give it space, what do I do next?
What do you do next? And you're asking this from a legal perspective or a custody perspective, or what? What's the main concern about what to do next?
I don't want to make it worse and be accused of any more wrongdoing, including abandonment or not being there. But I also don't want the kids and I to lose everything through this. If a person isn't showing forward progress, at what point do you just
Okay,
fight
so
for the rights
we
of
can
the
help you with
kids?
that,
Okay.
but I'm going to ask you to just let us do our best. Chris, you want to get us started here on what might be a good plan or path for him?
Yeah. So, Steve, you have a lot of really, really painful variables that are outside of your control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to manage your wife's reaction and her pain and her response to all of this. Again, that's been very painful. But what this situation has done is it's created a lot of confusion in you. And there's two things that I want you to be able to start to do. And I'm not here to minimize jobs. I'm not here to minimize income. But jobs can come and go. Financial fear is real. And financial insecurity is real. However, that can cloud something way more important, and that is this. What is most important in my life right now? I want you to be able to make a list of priorities. What are, the most important things, what I call the eternal things in my life right now? And then the second part of that is, what am I in control of and what am I not in control of? Because the subtext in all of this, and I'm not blaming you for the dissolving of the marriage or anything like that, but the subtext in all of this is that you've struggled with some control issues. And so in the midst of all of that, you being able to enter into a process where you're able to let go of the things you aren't in control of, and through the lens of your priority, engage in the things that you are in control of.
Okay.
And that's real high level stuff, because I think there's more heart stuff underneath, but that's the direction I'd send you right now.
And, I want to just mention that we've talked about triggers and trauma, and you might be able to say, well, I gave up all that control and anger, and I'm dealing differently. But it hurt her, and so she might still be struggling with the aftermath of that. It's just something to consider in the equation, that you could stop something, but that doesn't mean she isn't still experiencing the impact of that behavior. Take a break. We'll come right back with more New Life Live. Got a wonderful, wonderful intimacy in marriage, and that's going to be right there in Washington, D.C., July the 28th. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out about what we can do for your situation, resources, workshops, webinars, all sorts of things that we can do to help you. But you have to call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly. and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We're talking right here with Steve. And Chris has challenged him on thinking about what's the big priority. Sheri, what are your thoughts here?
Well, hey, Steve. You know what I wonder about you? I think I'm going to take a risk with you, if you'll let me do that.
Okay. Sure.
And I love the fact that you brought up the feral cat. My hunch is that I don't think your wife was always an avoider. I think when you guys met, she was probably more compliant, more of a pleaser. But I think throughout the years, she's moved in that position. And let me tell you why I think that's going on. And I'm not diagnosing you. I'm not saying this is what's going on, but it's just a wondering. Some of us come into the world with different brains. And we talked on another show about a gal that was HSP, highly sensitive person. Like, it's just been something that's there. Let me tell you about what I'm wondering with you. I think you might have what's called a non-divergent brain, like a brain that is on the spectrum somewhere of something called OCD. It's a brain that has an affinity to have things its way. Like, it's a brain that likes to control and it likes to focus on certain things, and it's kind of like it's my way. And there are people who are on the spectrum of OCD that are good people, yet they struggle with control issues. They struggle with issues of worries about scarcity. Mm-hmm. They struggle with feeling comfortable even in their own selves at times. And so my sense is in the marriage that she might have felt like she didn't have as much say-so over the long haul, over the 15 years, and yet she didn't know how to communicate or make changes, and so she just ran. She left.
Kind of flipped it.
Just kind of ran with the kids and the dog. But what I'm saying to you, it's something to consider. I've had family members come in with somebody who's on the spectrum of OCD. And I have a bunch of people in the room, sisters, brothers, parents. And they're saying things like this about that person. They're saying, they're so selfish. It's their way or the highway. They're always controlling. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, before we all start pointing labels at this human being, let me try to explain their brain to you. Not that I'm making excuses for their brain, but once you realize it's a brain issue and there's some treatments that need to happen with that person, with that brain, there's some things that can change. Mm-hmm. Because these brains are they're at war with people in the world, but it's in you. It's not you. You have a brain that I think is on the spectrum of OCD. So what do you think about any of that?
Well, I think you're spot on with maybe she was more compliant and more in line with the whole, not using it in a worldly sense, being a submissive wife in a godly perspective, not in a worldly one. That was a priority of her. We were a godly family.
Yeah.
And then with time, this kept phasing in more and more and more.
But what do you think about my brain thing? What do you think about what might be going on with your brain? I might be the first one ever, Steve, that's ever brought this to your attention, to even ask a question. What do you think about it?
Oh, no, I have some of my own, whether it's from God or myself, realizations of that control factor.
Yeah.
And trying to back that off through the years wasn't in timing enough. Not that I started doing it once this happened. I'm talking years and years ago, because I have letters stating the witness of that change from her. So she's seeing the efforts I've been putting forward in phasing away from that type of thing to just let go of the things that don't matter. Like, does that really matter? No, it doesn't. That's not significant enough to address.
Right.
But that could be very well there to have a controlled environment because it's more secure. If it goes this way, we can handle it. So you're spot on with that as far as we're talking about my brain.
Yes, we're talking about your brain, because when it's your brain, you don't even realize that it's a brain issue. You think it's a personality issue or maybe it's a control issue, but these brains are controlling. And so until you begin to understand the biology around the struggle that you're having and make some changes, maybe get in to see a psychiatrist. That they can be helpful. Maybe start reading some books, look stuff up, because you're probably love data and details anyway. Mm-hmm. But trying to make sense of it so that your family can, so you can take some ownership over what you can do with your brain that's impacting your family.
Yeah. All right. I'm really glad that you called. I'm really glad that Chris said something you agreed with there. And then Sheri jumped out there and you agreed with her. And so I'm really glad that you called. And I don't know. It's a control issue. It's obsessive issue, obsession, compulsion. Send you take your life back. It can help you. I believe it can help you. And I want to send you Every Man's Bible, because for guys like you or any guy, I mean, it has all of these little factoids and really interesting things. I think you will like it a lot. I hope so. Sheri, it takes courage on your part to jump out there and say, what about this? But I really do believe that you're right on, that some of us have these brains that are an organ that's functioning differently than others, just like some people's kidneys are functioning differently. And it's not a moral issue. Mm-hmm. And if we could get in there, understand that brain, and maybe even with supplements and other things like that, get it as healthy as possible, we might see a big, huge change in how we relate. Not because we did a bunch of therapy, but because we got the brain working the best it can.
Yeah. These brains are in the anxiety category. Mm-hmm. And so they need to be calmed. They need to be understood. They need calming, right? Yeah. Because they're always just on so high.
And I find that there's two questions, actually, that is the cornerstone of even comfort circles. Is that, what am I afraid of? And what do I really need? Not just what do I need, but what do I really need? And for the obsessive brain like myself, I can show you the doodles on my sheet that show you that I have I have obsessions, that create compulsions that take that anxious energy and put it somewhere. But ultimately, the energy inside is the cornerstone of actually 12-step recovery. And what God desires for us is to seek peace and pursue it, serenity. And I'll give you a quick hint, to go one more. If you're looking for an external, other than God, to give you serenity, you will never find it. It's an internal job.
Yeah. Also, we talk about needs. Sometimes needs, like a lot of people think, well, I've got this need for more sex. Well, it's a desire, but it's not a need. No one's blown up because they didn't have enough sex.
That's right.
We lost another one there. That's not reality. But there is desire. And when we marry, we want to fulfill each other's desires, but things happen. And we get hurt, and the connection is destroyed. If you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Dr. Sheri Keffer. Thank you, Chris Williams. And thanks to all of you who listen, watch, pray, and support this ministry. We are grateful for you.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.